Good afternoon. It's wonderful to be with all of you for our annual celebration of faculty and staff excellence. I always say this is my second favorite day of the year. I call this closing day. But guess what? My other favorite is opening day. And I do think there's something very healthy in loving it and being grateful for a break. So really, I want to just thank everyone for the success that we've had this year on campus. And it's absolutely been because of your contributions and the effort that you put into building this great institution, in which I'm very proud to be president here and provide service here. I don't know if you're able to connect the dots on all the success that Elon's been enjoying over the last year, but it definitely is connected to the work that you do. And if you ever want me to offer a connect the dot for you, I'm happy to do it. Our metrics, I look at a lot of data in my work, and Elon's metrics are up across the board. Students achieving record levels of employment, record levels of starting salaries, graduation rates, and the best news of all, students graduating with record lower debt, which I'm very grateful for. And that's because of the generosity that has occurred with our Elon Leads campaign and the scholarships that we've been able to add to attend Elon. This is, one of the nation's finest residential campuses. We've, for 2 years in a row, have been recognized for having just fantastic faculty, ranked #1 for excellence in undergraduate teaching. And I know many of you have, through your service to the institution, helped support our engaged and experiential learning environments, which place students all over the world, across our community, and then that really powerful leadership and internship and the one-on-one work we do in our undergraduate research program, which drives critical thinking and curiosity. So really, the whole world is a learning environment for Elon students, and I'm really grateful for that. This afternoon, I wanted to highlight one particular story of a staff member that I think just exemplifies Elon. So we had a staff member who heard a student concern and then worked to address it. It happened during an SGA open forum this spring. Dr. Dooley and I attend, we have 2 what we call town halls, and a student shared a concern that the pathway from Mill Point to the heart of campus along Williamson Avenue was very dark. The teams in facilities management and campus safety came in the next night after dark to look at what the student had referenced and determined that the problem was a combination of Elon-managed and Duke Energy-managed lights being out. They were out. And then the next day, the Elon light was fixed, and Todd Stucker was on the phone. Our Todd Stucker was on the phone with Duke Energy reps and responded quickly to add new LED lights to brighten that area and increase our students' sense of personal safety. And I just thought that's exactly I love the sense of ownership that story represents, and really it's how things happen and the difference that each of you are making at Elon every day. This morning, I also want to thank all of the faculty and staff in the departments of engineering, university advancement, planning, design, and construction, and across the campus who made it possible for us to formally open Founders and Innovation Halls this spring. These new facilities are absolutely spectacular. They are offering tremendous new learning spaces for our students to explore science and technology and math and engineering, and has been a point of inspiration for many already on our campus. Every time I walk through that building, I reflect back to the summer of 2020, and we had a financing package for that building. So I just want y'all to be in my head for a second. July of 2020. Right. And I'm at my desk, and this financing, I can't remember exactly, but it was related to the debt about $50 million that we were about to take on for new spaces on campus. And I have to say, you know, I paused. I felt like the world was upside down in July of 2020, and I paused, and then I was inspired by the bold moves that had been made over the course of our history by this community. First and foremost, by establishing a college in a grove of oaks on the fourth try, and undaunted and undeterred by all the previous setbacks. I always say the fourth time's a charm for Elon, not the first, second, or third. So people who are new to our community may not realize that they tried to open the college, it failed. They opened a second time, it failed. Third, and it was the fourth. It was the winning formula. And we have benefited in thousands of students. And then I thought about 1923 and the fire. So all of those bold moves that Elon has made over the years, the strategic planning that went into ensuring our accreditation during Dr. Danieley's time and our academic strength, and then the recruitment Fred Young put in place, and then Leo Lambert coming behind that with academic excellence and building out the academic village and Phi Beta Kappa. So many good things. And with all of that in mind, I signed that $50 million in debt and said, we're going to come out of this pandemic and we are going to be better and stronger. And so all of those data points really represent that. So every time I'm in that building, I think about that moment and really confident that Elon's future is bright. And you only have to spend a little bit of time with our students to know our future's bright. And we celebrated Elon Leads, and so we're seeing the impact of that on our campus. And some of you may or may not be aware that we had 34,000 people donate to that campaign. 34,000 people. And anytime I think about that number, I think about I call those votes of confidence that people have in the mission and the work that we're doing. And many of those 34,000 were our employees. And so I can't thank you enough for believing in the impact of those scholarships and those areas that you provide funding to. They truly are making a difference, and we feel it in our community. I wish everyone who funded a scholarship could meet that student and be inspired. Those student stories, which we had a chance to celebrate a few weeks ago, are truly powerful. So thank you. And that's why this day is so important. It's a day that we honor and recognize the living out of our mission, the close of another successful academic year, the lives where we have, I don't know how many graduates we have, but we have a lot that we're about to offer a diploma to, who are going to go out into the world and do great things. And without you, that would not be possible. So this is the day when we pause to appreciate one another. That said, I'd like to acknowledge, and they're in the back of the room, if you could join me in thanking the team at Harvest Table, who I told the team at Harvest Table yesterday that we have a lot of fun with them. I'm so grateful for their partnership and their commitment to our students and the excellence that they work toward each day on behalf of creating the nation's finest learning environment. So thank you. So we're about to thank our colleagues. We're going to recognize milestones of service. And we have many of our retirees that have, previous retirees that have joined us. I'm really excited to have them here with us today. I know that as we work to celebrate today, that there will be lots of memories shared at the table, lots of acknowledgement of what happened this year, probably a lot of gratitude that we're continuing to get farther and farther away from the fall of 1920. So with that, I'd like to call on Assistant University Chaplain Julie Tonneson, also an Elon alum, for this afternoon's invocation. Where's Julie sitting? There.
Colleagues and friends, as we gather today to celebrate the completion of another academic year, and recognize the accomplishments of several among us, please join me in this blessing around the table by Kate Bowler. I recognize that we're all at various stages of enjoying our meal, but I think the good news about blessings is that they work proactively and retroactively. So please join me. Awaken us to the everyday miracle of a meal, whether it is takeout that took a phone call, or recipes that took the entire afternoon, or the cereal for dinner again feeling a meal creates. Bless it all. Blessed are we today sharing this meal. May we recognize goodness in the thoughtful preparation, in the delivering, in the eating together, savoring something that tastes like love. May our time around the table be a gift. May we be present to one another, engaging all our senses as an act of thankful mindfulness to the nourishment that's before us with the people we love. Bless the hands that prepared this, those with us now, and the ones we wish were here. Bless us in all our eating and cooking and gathering and sharing. May we taste and see the love that multiplies. May it be so, and amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Tonneson. At a series of luncheons held this spring, we celebrated the employment and anniversaries of faculty and staff, and I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize employees who have been with the university for more than 2 decades. I asked the faculty and staff celebrating 20, 25, 30, and 35 years of service to stand and remain standing as I call your names. Please hold your applause until the end. Employees with 20 years of service: Kyle Altman, Bill Burpett, Beth DeFord, Mighty DeLama, Shannon Duvall, Kim Farmer, Tom Flood, Judy Fulmar, Matt Gendel, J.P. Lavoie, Chris Leopold, Chip Newton, Kim Pine, Kirsten Ringelberg, Patrick Rudd, Carrie Ryan, Chris Spires, Scott Stevens, Mary Tendler, Rennie Thompson, Julie White. Employees with 25 years of service: Stephen Bailey, Holly Berry, Ann Cahill, Polly Cornelius, Stephen Folger, Greg Hanel, Mike LaPaca, Scott Hildebrand, Kenneth Lee, Angela Llewellyn, Andy Metz, Sylvia Muniz, Tim Peoples, Linda Poulson, Ray Pruitt, Carl Seinerth, Michael Williams. Congratulations. Employees with 30 years of service: Pranab Das, Mary Jo Fessel, Mark Fox, Katie King, L.D. Russell, Anthony Toten, Wendy Williams. And a very short list: employees with 35 years of service. But they're there, we got 3. Jimmy Crawford, Fred Rubick, and Bob Willis. Collectively, this group represents 1,250 years of service to Elon. That's fantastic. We're also honored today to have our dear friends and colleagues who have already retired joining us. Retired faculty and staff members, will you please stand so we can welcome you this afternoon? It really is a lot of fun to have you here, so thank you for coming and joining us today. It makes it special. And we would also like to celebrate those just joining the ranks of retirees. 29 members of the Elon faculty and staff have retired or will retire at the end of this academic year. This afternoon, we will celebrate the careers of 6 members of our community. And before we hear about them, I would like to recognize the others who are also retiring this year. Paula Anderson, Marty Baker, Sheldon Carr, Cece Cowan, Joan Dawson, Keith DeMont, Brenda Douglas, Tom Erdman, Brian Fitz, Paul Herod, Clay Hazard, Jeff James, Beth Jennings, Leon Knight, Jane Law, Yorm Lubling, Kate McLeod, Dale Moore, Joyce Pepper, Doug Reddington, Glenn Scott, Tallulah Shaw, Renee Summers. I actually have in my head thinking, how are we going to get anything done? Actually, well-earned retirements, people working really hard. Okay, so we will kick off our remarks, and we'll begin this afternoon's recognition with remarks by Chris Harris for Chris Baker.
Chris Baker has been a caring and involved instructor for finance courses for many years. Prior to teaching at Elon, Chris earned a bachelor's in accounting from NC State and an MBA from Elon. She worked as an audit supervisor at Ernst & Whinney, now part of Ernst & Young, as interim chief financial officer at Tri-Stone Community Bank, and as chief financial officer at First State Bank. As a quick reflection of her work outside of academia, I previously spoke with someone who reported directly to Chris while she was CFO. He is now managing a bank himself. He made the following comment: whenever there was something complicated that had to be done or understood at the bank, we all would look to Chris for the explanation. She was always the smartest person in the room. As a colleague, Chris has always been happy and interested in the success of others and willing to contribute wherever it was needed. This has been an incredible value to the entire department and something I have deeply appreciated as the chair for the past 4 years. Finally, Chris has always contributed at Elon with the heart of a teacher. One of the greatest compliments to Chris and her teaching is the consistent message from students about how much she cares. I see this feedback in formal evaluations, but also when I meet with students for advising, as I talk with graduating seniors, and as I interact with many other students through various events. 2 comments from recent students that capture the theme of feedback every semester. First, I personally cannot comment on everything this professor does that helps the learning process because I don't have enough space to fill this out. She helped me with the course scheduling as an advisor, and in class was knowledgeable. I love Professor Baker. She is literally the best. Second quote: I struggled in this class, and throughout, Professor Baker was incredibly willing to help and wanted me to succeed. She wants everyone to thrive in finance. She is so kind and willing to help and listen to students. End quote. As a parent myself, I want every teacher my children have to challenge them to learn, even when the subject is hard. But I also hope they will extend this challenge with a willingness to be available to help and to strengthen the learners. I believe Chris does all of these things and does them at a high level, something that is not as common as it should be in education. Chris, you will be missed as a colleague, as a teacher, and as the smartest person in the room. Best of luck with all of your plans going forward.
I've never spoken to this many people in my life. My career with Elon was a fortunate act of serendipity. I was burned out from my corporate job back in 2008, but I was clueless with respect to what I was going to do for the next 10 years. I had been a bank Chief Financial Officer for over 25 years, and that was kind of my only identity. Fortunately, I was invited to be a financial executive in residence at Elon in the fall of 2008. I loved teaching, and as the story goes, it was history from there. I have taught probably 3,000 students in my past 15 years, and I feel like I have learned as much as I have shared with them. I am so grateful to Elon for this opportunity for me to transition to retirement, and I am appreciative of the university, the Love School of Business, and the finance department. Long live Elon.
Let me introduce my friend, Professor Mark Courtright. He joined us years ago as the business writing guy. He taught our students how to be professional writers, how to develop professional presentations, and how to position themselves as career-oriented students. I remember hearing about his classes as having the most rigorous assignments in the business curriculum, hearing about how he could grade student assignments with a keen eye and rigorously high standards. I mean, this is Mark. This represents him well. That's scary stuff. But then I got to know him, and I believe that this earlier picture represents the true Mark a bit more. I mean, this is the guy who would send me short clips from inside jokes from Monty Python, potent lines from obscure beat poets, and quite up-to-date pop cultural references. This is also the guy who would tell me that he liked being in my 20s in the 70s much more than being in my 70s in the 20s. Wise words. But what I saw most was his real concern for our students, his dedication to his craft, and his willingness to support our department however he could. He said yes when asked if he should develop a new course to replace his business communication requirement. He identified all the texts, he developed the exercises, he mentored all the course instructors, and he freely shared his materials and his wisdom. He said yes when asked if he would teach that same course during the January term. It was not fun, but he did it and did it well. Finally, he said yes when asked if he would teach an entirely new prep in the department. We asked that he move to an upper-level management principles course. Again, he said yes, even as he was approaching his retirement. I think back to his early photo, when he worked for Vista at the Memphis Halfway House, and can see that he always said yes when asked to help others. Oh, sorry, I always get his pictures mixed up. But maybe this image gets obscured by age, or the thinness of portfolios, or the weaknesses of a chair's writings. But this is really Mark. Please join me in thanking Professor Mark Courtright for saying yes in service to Elon and our students. Mark, you will be missed.
Christy, there's a lot of people here.
Smile, please.
First of all, I want to thank my wife, Sherry, we've been together 45 years now, and she's retiring at the end of May. So we're going to sail off into the sunset together. Then I want to thank my son, Chris, and his wife, Ashley, who give me an insight into what management is like in Fortune 500 companies, and just a little peek at that. And Chris, I'm so proud of you. And I want to thank Dr. Mormon and Scott Beekler, Scott took a chance on me coming in from corporate world to teach business communication. And the development of Gateway, directly or indirectly, I've been able to touch the lives of every student in the Love School of Business. And lastly, to the Elon community. I've so enjoyed being here, and I met a life career goal of retiring on a college campus. I thank you all very much. Thank you.
When Chris Fulkerson arrived on campus from upstate New York, it was 1982. Elon was a very different institution. Chris immediately got to work as part of Elon's story of growth, transformation, and student-centered focus in higher education. He has often noted that he has worked for 4 different Elon campuses over his 40-plus year tenure, each one possessing new people, exciting changes, and opportunities for leadership. Chris took advantage of every one of those shifts to provide enhancements to the physical campus or new services designed to meet the needs of every new class of students. At Elon, where people often wear many hats, Chris is exemplary. He has worn more hats than we can even count. He has also owned many Elon firsts related to these positions. Elon's first photographer, first theater technician, the first director of learning resources, interim director of the library, the first director of instructional and campus technologies, and chief information officer. He also held 2 senior leadership roles in technology and administrative services. He spent several years as faculty member in the early, rapidly growing Department of Communications, teaching and mentoring students in this developing field of media. Chris shared his ideas and innovations through many committees and construction projects during his 41 years of service. As Elon was building out its master plans and expanding academic programs, Chris was there to challenge and guide the many staff who were working with him to make significant change. Chris, thank you for your service to the many Elons you have served in your amazingly rich career. Each one of these Elons are certainly better due to your determination, innovative spirit, and care for our community. Congratulations to you for a long and benchmarking career, and also to your supportive family members who also made Elon home through those years. Chris, I wish you much joy as you begin your next adventure.
He stole my lines. First, I want to thank my family, my wife Kim, my daughter Ashley, her husband Trey, and my son Jacob for being here and for supporting me through the many hours I worked. And thank you to Christopher and the many colleagues I've worked with. The reason I say that I have worked at 4 different institutions, I came to Elon thinking I was going to be here 1 year. I had a restrictive contract at a radio station that I could not go back into broadcasting for 1 year. And I got to Elon, and they had this strategic plan that was impressive. I knew Elon was going to go places. And at the end of the 10 years, it was a different institution. In the next 10 years, it was another different institution. I challenge you to think big. Think big, scary goals for the next 10 years. Thank you.
Surely, Kathy Lyday's retirement after 41 years is just a rumor, a fable told around the English department coffee pot. After all, who retires immediately after becoming department chair? I mean, she already served her time in that role, but stepped up to fill a need this semester. She's still shepherding the English Honor Society too, now for almost 20 years. Who is going to chivvy students and colleagues into therapeutic holiday craft making at our end of term gatherings? Can anyone do justice to the entire Kathy-created catalog of English language courses that are just one of her many legacies? I don't know. Kathy's career spanned Elon's meteoric growth from a regional college to the national university it is today. Have you ever wondered, why do we have such a robust undergraduate research program and such exceptional support of honors and fellow students? As one of the pioneer directors of the honors program, Kathy used to arrange all the chairs in empty classrooms for the early versions of Surf Day, when most people questioned why Elon was even trying to do undergraduate research. She offered our first Literature of the Holocaust course, one of the early forays into what was to become a thriving Jewish studies minor. And later she co-designed and co-led many times the Holocaust journey abroad. It takes a special person to stand outside in a Warsaw winter with students struggling to come to terms with the legacy of great tragedy, frozen, but still offering needed academic and emotional support. Over the years, Kathy served on nearly every committee, in most faculty leadership roles. She published and presented to audiences ranging from historical societies to middle schools. She even has 2 novels on the market. But amidst all of this, Kathy took time to be the heart of our department community. She started book groups, planned gatherings, mentored new faculty, and even once sparked a week-long game of assassin played all across campus. Just a few weeks ago, you could have seen a large group of students taking tea with a figure straight out of Jane Austen. Dressed in full period costume, which she made herself, Kathy passed around homemade shortbread and tiny sandwiches, a small taste of her immersive commitment to engaged teaching and active community. Kathy's first impact on me came in 1989 in the form of a handwritten note tucked into my Elon student acceptance package. In it, she welcomed me to Elon and pointed me, a declared bio major, toward the literary magazine. That simple thing, which I doubt she even remembers, spoke so loudly about what an Elon professor could be: personal, responsive, interdisciplinary, and striving to open opportunities for students and colleagues alike. Kathy Lyday helped define Elon as an institution. She embodies so much of what makes teaching at Elon special. I, for one, can't wait to see what she does next.
Well, this is intimidating. Thank you, Kim, for not making me cry. I like that. It was my pleasure to teach Kim while she was here and to welcome her to our department as a colleague several years ago, and it was a lovely introduction. Thank you. Thanks also to my colleagues, many of whom are sitting out here, and those across the university. Also, I'd like to thank my children. My daughter Landis is here today. Her brother Roth couldn't be here, but they know how hard it is to have a professor, or 2 professors in our case, as parents. And it's even worse if you're an English professor. So today marks nearly the end of my farewell tour at Elon University. Teaching at Elon has been the only real job that I have ever had, my full-time career for 41 years. In fact, I've never really been out of a classroom of one sort or another since I started preschool. So getting used to this freedom will be quite the challenge. When I came to interview during an imminent ice storm in February 1982, we parked in front of the Alamance building. When I returned in August, the first of many construction sites I've witnessed over 4 decades was front and center. What later became known as Scott Plaza and Fonville Fountain were being built. Many changes have happened since then. More and better students, faculty, and buildings, more garden spaces, less parking. I have worked under 3 college or university presidents and got to know a fourth, Dr. Daniels-Danieley, pretty well. What hasn't changed? The beauty of this campus, the dedication of our staff and faculty, the amazing talent on this campus with regard to students, administrators, staff, and faculty, and the commitment of this institution to undergraduate and graduate education in global studies. I've made many friends, watched our students excel in academics and become leaders in their communities. I've welcomed brilliant students like Dr. Pine as a colleague, led many study abroad courses to places I thought I'd never see, Auschwitz, Costa Rica, Australia, along with some of my favorite places in Europe and the UK. My life here has been full and rewarding. Many people have asked me this year if I would miss Elon. The honest answer is sort of. I can always come back to enjoy the beautiful campus and reconnect with faculty, but I will miss welcoming new students every semester, teaching a wide variety of courses and even creating some new ones, and welcoming new colleagues as they begin their journey here. Oh, and all the Adirondack chairs. What I won't miss for 1 minute, our committee work, finding a parking spot, faculty meetings, and grading. However, I have unfinished quilts and other creative projects to keep me busy, shelves of books to explore, books to write, a garden to resurrect, lunches with retired friends to enjoy, and more places in the world to see. I will not be bored. I'll close with an Edith Wharton quotation that has been a North Star for my teaching philosophy. There are two ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. For me, teaching is that candle, and I think Elon inspires us to not only be that candle, but to reflect the light of our colleagues and students that enriches how we live and lead. Thank you.
I am very pleased to honor my good friend and coworker for the past 25 years, a woman I greatly admire and respect, Dr. Linda Poulson. When I think of Linda, the words above and beyond, excellence, and dedication all come to mind. Linda always gave 110% to her students and the university. Prior to Linda's arrival, our accounting department suite was what you would expect: quiet, peaceful, but then Dr. Poulson came. As soon as Linda arrived at work in the morning, I knew it. She didn't just speak to the students, she engaged them in conversation, asking them questions like, "What's your major? Why did you choose that major? How are your classes going?" This was a pattern I observed in her, continuing throughout the years. During the majority of her career, Linda taught Intermediate Accounting 1, the gateway course into the accounting major. She not only gave students a great foundation into accounting, she also taught them many life lessons. To this day, alumni who had her in that class fondly repeat some of her phrases like, "Articulate what you think you know," and "Luck is the point where opportunity meets preparedness." She would write familiarity and knowledge on the board and explain the difference and the value of true understanding. Linda worked in the field of public accounting during her early years and as a manager for one of the world's largest CPA firms. She taught at Regis University in Denver before pursuing her PhD at St. Louis University. She joined Elon in the last year of her doctoral program and was later granted tenure and promoted to the rank of associate professor in 2004. During her time here, Linda served as department chair for 12 years. In that role, she led with integrity, sincerity, fairness, and a good heart. She is the epitome of collegiality. Under her leadership, the accounting department created programs and experiences that ensured the success of our students, which included the Becker Fast Pass CPA Review Program and the Master of Science in Accounting. Linda was the founding faculty advisor of our award-winning student organization, Beta Alpha Psi. She also worked tirelessly to host an accounting continuing professional education seminar with the Accounting Advisory Board and led students on 2 study abroad trips, Ghana and Dubai. An educator at heart, Dr. Poulson received 2 honors in 2012, the Love School of Business Dean's Award for Excellence in Teaching, and she was named Beta Gamma Sigma Professor of the Year. She also received the 2015 Outstanding Educator of the Year by the North Carolina Association of Certified Public Accountants and the 2006 Dean's Award for Exemplary Service. Because of Linda's impact on students for the past 25 years, alumni and faculty have established a scholarship in her name in the Masters in Accounting program. Not only has Linda been a great mentor to students, she's also mentored faculty. We in the accounting department are definitely better teachers because of Linda. I know I am. From our entire department, thank you, Linda. I wish you the best in retirement, and we are going to miss you.
Well, you always hear people say, how do you follow that? And I don't know, but I will say thank you, Patty, for such kind remarks. And after that, there's nothing else to say. However, I do want to thank a few people, as long as I got the podium for at least a minute. First and foremost, I want to thank my husband. My husband has been my rock since I've been here at Elon. He's also been like a second faculty member. He has been my teaching assistant, my technology guy. He has been everything I've needed him to do. So when I retire this year, at the end of this year, my husband's going to retire also. And he tells people he won't have to do his part-time job, which has been me for the last 25 years. I do want to say thank you to all my colleagues. They have been such a great group. Those in my apartment, in my department, those in the Love School of Business, and those across campus who I've gotten to know over the years. And you know, I don't know if I could have done all the things that I've done, at least what Patty said I did, if I had been anywhere else. Elon has allowed me to flourish. It has allowed me to do whatever I thought would benefit the university, benefit the students, benefit the Love School of Business, or benefit my department. And I just kept going. And I also want to just say quickly that, you know what they say, all good things must come to an end. It's been a great ride. But they tell me also that the end is only the beginning of the next phase. Don't know exactly what that next phase looks like, but I'm going to take my time to find out. And I just want to say thank you to Elon for letting me be here, first of all, for hiring me, first of all, and letting me be here for 25 years. I've enjoyed every moment of it. Thank you.
Put yourself in the position of an 18-year-old student walking into your first religious studies class. You're a bit nervous, you don't know what to expect. Maybe you've never even seen the movie The Big Lebowski, and then all of a sudden in walks your professor channeling no less than the dude himself. And bonus, he has the resonant voice of Sam Elliott's The Stranger. So you sit back, your interest is piqued, you're not quite sure what to expect, and then this charismatic professor invites you in to be a member of the tribe. And you're asking yourself, what cult of personality have I fallen into? But it's not a tribe of exclusion. It's not a tribe where others are not welcome. All are welcome in this tribe, no borders, no boundaries, as you explore the topic of religious studies for the rest of the semester. So you settle in and you're just starting on Mr. LD's wild ride, and by the end of the semester you find that maybe you have discovered your people. It's not just students. Everyone who comes in contact with LD comes away feeling better about life, better about everything in general. In fact, he taught me a way of counting that I never knew before. According to him, it's 1, 2, Earnhardt. Now, for those of you who remain confused, check out his book, Godspeed, Racing is My Religion. LD came to Elon as an adjunct professor and made a home for himself. Not only made a home for himself, but made an absolute myth and legend of himself. And he moved from lecturer to senior lecturer, and his impact on students' lives was recognized with his being awarded the highest teaching award that Elon can give, the Daniels-Danieley Award for Excellence in Teaching last year. It's a rare honor, but it's not the only one that LD's been awarded. That said, it's not in his writing or in his YouTube videos or even in his teaching that has had such an enormous impact on this campus. It is his heart for his colleagues and students that has reached into so many lives, etching into them the very soul of Elon. And in this we see the truth of LD's time with us here, for it is what we have inscribed in the hearts of our students' lives that will truly be the indelible mark we make on them. There are witnesses of his impact across the globe who will remember him as the one that introduced them to new worlds, new ways of being and thinking about the world. And his love and support for his tribe will be fondly recalled for generations as he steps away from this part of his vocation. There is no greater legacy to realize than the fact that you have changed the world, one person at a time. And so, LD, may that memory be a comfort and sustain you in the way forward. Godspeed, my friend.
Thanks, Jeffrey. I would not be where I am or who I am without you. Thanks to my department. I have poured my heart and soul into my students, and they have returned pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. And on Monday, when my last class ended, they were so kind. There were good wishes and fist bumps and hugs. And what was troubling, I want to say heartbreaking, is that I'm standing there knowing that I'm not going to be here to watch out for them over the next 3 years as they navigate what can be a very difficult time, late adolescence, early adulthood. So I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind, would you please watch out for them? And not just those students. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the things that Elon does. Watch out for them. Put up with their foibles. And see them, right? And again, especially the Odyssey scholars who cross your path, because they are navigating a whole other level of change in an environment with a language, a social language that they do not necessarily understand. And if you do, they will reward you. You will see a human being blossom. That is the gift. That is the gift that we give and receive in turn. 124 years in, after 3 failures to launch, who knew? The work is not over. In fact, it's really just begun. And though I may not be here physically, I will be here in spirit, right? Cheering you on. Cheering you on. So no matter what comes, stay the course. Keep the faith. Long live Elon.
Good afternoon. Before we begin our award presentations, I've been asked to make a few announcements. First, as part of our sustainability efforts, and another thank you from the university, the person whose program has a monogrammed Elon E on the back may leave with the geranium in the center of the table and enjoy its blooms throughout the summer. We couldn't have an event like today or the thousands of other meetings and events we host on campus without the support and dedication of our Elon Dining Services partners, our event setup and moving crew, environmental services, cultural programs, and technology. Please join me in a big community thank you for their commitment to the goals of Elon University. Today is a wonderful day. Today is a day of celebration. Over the next several minutes, we will present 4 major university awards: the Stephen and Patricia House Excellence in Mentoring Award, the Periclean Award for Civic Engagement and Social Responsibility, the Distinguished Scholar Award, and the Daniels-Danieley Award for Excellence in Teaching. At the conclusion of the ceremony, we ask today's award recipients to remain and please come to the front of the room so that we can take photographs. It is my honor to be able to present the Stephen and Patricia House Excellence in Mentoring Award. Beginning in 2007, Elon University has annually recognized one faculty or staff person who has demonstrated a sustained commitment to Elon undergraduates through outstanding mentoring. This award reflects the high value Elon places on faculty and staff who demonstrate a sustained commitment to the intellectual and holistic development of undergraduates, who facilitate invaluable learning experiences outside of a classroom setting, who provide information and opportunities that enhance the likelihood that students will achieve their academic or career goals, who provide constructive advice and an ongoing push when needed, and who encourage undergraduates to pursue meaningful opportunities. Would past mentoring award recipients please stand to be recognized? This year's awardee received nominations from colleagues, students, and alumni, all of whom praised this person's profound impact on students through their commitment to and passion for inspiring, challenging, supporting, and celebrating the whole student. This year's recipient is recognized for the deep impact and commitment to students that has been characterized by one of their nominators as instrumental in helping them by encouraging me to be open-minded, to try new experiences, and to be involved. Their connection with Elon students through mentoring is powerful and continues on in their years as Elon alumni. This colleague's mentoring of undergraduate students has been integral to the pursuit and attainment of rewarding career opportunities, study abroad experiences, internships, and admission to graduate programs at some of the finest institutions in the world, like the University of Pennsylvania and the University of Washington. One alumnus remarked that this year's recipient was one of my most influential role models during my college career. One of the defining characteristics of an excellent mentor is the ability to form unique relationships with their mentees. One nominator describes this year's recipient as someone who sees the immense potential within a person and guides them to recognize that potential within themselves. This is accomplished through this colleague's skillful engagement and deep commitment to their students that nurtures the development of trusting relationships that last well beyond their time at Elon. One former student writes that this colleague approaches everyone as an individual, recognizing that everyone's journey is unique. They also emphasize the importance of the Elon community, and they encourage us to create a reliable support system that helps us understand that there will always be people standing beside us. This colleague's interactions have been valuable for students as they faced important, challenging life transitions. As a student writes, during my time at Elon, this colleague's presence and mentorship helped me navigate life. They were always present for me and helped me see the future with excitement rather than fear. They went on to say, it is not an overstatement to say that I would not have come this far without this colleague. They taught me that it's okay to say no to some things. They helped me become more confident and pursue opportunities that I once thought were out of reach. This nominee was instrumental in helping me shape my undergraduate career and understand who I am as a person. I can confidently say that this person has been with me every step of the way. Letters of nomination from students, alumni, and peers describe this colleague in the following ways. The nominee shines brighter than any other people I have met. It is apparent that the awardee possesses a mastery for engaging students and inspiring their passion for learning. This colleague engages with those around them in an intentional way and has the gift of being able to decenter themselves from their perspectives in order to help people understand and crystallize their strengths. These past and current students also share the sentiment that this year's recipient got to know them as an individual and supported their learning and personal growth. One alum writes, "I knew that this colleague genuinely cared about me and was excited about my learning at Elon and beyond. Their confidence in me would calm me down whenever I felt insecure about a class or a grad school application. When I discussed potential grad schools with them, they would never express any opinions. Rather, they would ask me questions about why I liked the grad program, what was important to me, and what I thought about the opportunities. This guided me to find my own answer. This is why they are my mentor." Throughout the nomination materials, this colleague is described as challenging, insightful, generous, and supportive. They are clearly dedicated to student learning and success. Nominators note how this colleague is committed to mentoring, inclusion, and student well-being, and describe her as an inspiration to many. In addition to supporting the development of her students, this colleague has welcomed countless international students into our community with care and kindness, advised the Elon International Society, and has served as staff in residence in the Isley International House, and has been recognized with the LSB Dean's Award for Distinguished Service. Please join me in celebrating the recipient of the 2023 Stephen and Patricia House Excellence in Mentoring Award, our friend and colleague, Kristen Aquilino, Director of International Student Services.
This is entirely unexpected. Somebody tricked me a little bit, actually. I see you. Thank you all so much. I think that it takes a village. Many of you have heard me say that a million times, and it is entirely true. So every single person in this room is responsible for the success of our international community. They are such a vibrant, resilient, dedicated community, and it's been an honor to serve them. And none of us have done it alone, including me. So to all of you who have been a part of that journey, thank you.
Established in 2003, the Periclean Award for Civic Engagement and Social Responsibility has been awarded to 20 Elon staff and faculty. We would like to recognize previous recipients whose names are listed in the program. Please stand if you are present and able. Thank you. Eugene M. Lang was the founder of Project Pericles, and his vision gave rise to many Periclean initiatives on campuses across the nation. Today, we recognize an Elon University member who embodies the spirit of civic engagement and social responsibility. This colleague combines their passion for a healthy community with their unique expertise to create positive change for North Carolina citizens. I am delighted to share a few words with you today to help you understand why we celebrate them today. This year's award winner has demonstrated multiple ways to make a difference in society. In early 2021, they took a central role in educating the local community about the safety and effectiveness of COVID vaccines. Through news media, videos, and a public talk, this person skillfully engaged with communities of color to bolster trust and openness. According to the event organizer, this colleague's tectonic plates talk on vaccines was the best attended and most interactive program in over a decade. Most importantly, this person's outreach may have helped to diminish early racial disparities in vaccines adoptions within Alamance County. Beyond Alamance, this awardee continues to tackle another significant crisis in North Carolina. In 2019, she learned of a city's contaminated water challenge that threatened her community's health. As a result, she engaged with lawmakers at every level of the state, advocating for effective drinking water filtration in her city, removal of wastewater contaminants at their source, and statewide regulation of industrial use of forever chemicals that plague communities across the state. Along with her co-founder, this scholar advocate formed the Clean Haw River organization that seeks to, quote, educate the public about the risk of drinking contaminated water, act as the liaison between the scientific community and water users, demand accountability from local, state, and federal agencies, and advocate for local, state, federal drinking water policies and regulations, end quote. Supporting this mission, Clean Haw River provides abundant educational outreach through public appearances. These co-founders have spoken regularly at the monthly Pittsburgh Board of Commissioners meetings for the past 3 years, spoken at 11 official community outreach events, and 10 regulatory government meetings, and have been featured in a total of 15 local and regional news pieces. Our awardee has been the key actor in bringing the North Carolina drinking water contamination story to Elon University and engaging students in the crucial and ongoing advocacy work necessary to resolve it. Beyond the numerous guest lecture appearances in various Elon courses, she has partnered with an Elon Environmental Studies professor to craft a 6-lesson unit of interdisciplinary curriculum materials to teach high school and undergraduate students about PFAS chemicals. Every activity in this unit was published in the Teach the Earth online collection. Several of those activities have been honored with exemplary review designation, which increases the likelihood that educators across the country will use them. The faculty member implemented a subset of these lessons while teaching Elon Academy in the summer of 2021, and will do so again in the summer of 2023. She also visited the Introduction to Environmental Science sections to humanize the crisis and demystify the process of advocacy in a democratic society. After the Environmental Science unit, one student commented, quote, interacting with Clean Haw River was really meaningful to me because it made me realize the power I could have to change things, and it starts with small actions like talking to people about these issues and giving them a voice, end quote. The partnership between Clean Haw River and Intro to Environmental Science has earned 2 Conoto Center Community Partnership Initiative grants for its quality and its impact. This biologist's scholarship has also distinguished her as an expert on courtship communication among animals, especially the love language of anole lizards and pinewood tree frogs. You may have read her feature story entitled, quote, Animal Love in the most recent edition of the magazine of Elon. This year's award winner is a mother, a scientist, and an advocate for clean water. And we are fortunate to have her as a colleague and a leader at Elon University. So please join me in congratulating the winner of the 2023 Periclean Award for Civic Engagement and Social Responsibility, Assistant Professor of Biology, Dr. Jessica Merritt.
I'm freaking out. I speak in front of people all the time. Usually I'm pretty mad, but this is different. So, hi. I have always had a passion for teaching people who are afraid or who dislike science. My first ever teaching job was the Intro to Biology for Non-Majors at the University of Missouri. Go Tigers. I got the short straw. I drew the short straw. Nobody likes teaching that class. No one wanted to teach that class. But I got in there and I met so many amazing students from all across campus, and they all said the same thing. Like, I'm not a science person. I can't do this. I don't want to be here. And for some reason, that just sparked my spirit in a way that I've never gone back. I absolutely love talking to people who feel like they can't handle or can't understand science. And so I came to Elon with that passion, and I've enjoyed teaching non-science majors across campus for the past 5 years. I got my 5-year pin right here. I never intended to be an activist or an advocate. My husband and I put our life savings into our very first house when we moved just down the road to Pittsboro, North Carolina. And a few months after that, I got a very random and alarming note in my water bill saying, by the way, there's this sort of unregulated chemicals in your drinking water, but everything's fine, don't worry about it. Yeah, no, I did worry about it. So I started reading, and I am not a chemist or a biochemist, but I will say I have learned more about these chemicals than I ever thought I would or could. And so with each passing day, as I realized how serious the problem is, how pervasive it is, I realized that I don't need to be an expert to speak up about problems when they exist. And so I did. I started making calls, I started knocking on doors and annoying people in my town that this is just not okay. And we don't have to accept below standard unhealthy drinking water. I never intended for that part of my life to cross into Elon, but it has in some really beautiful ways. So I have to thank Kelsey Bidding. She's over there somewhere. She heard my story and was so inspired that we have been thick as thieves since then, trying to find new and creative ways to involve Elon students in this challenge, in this journey. And I will say that probably the most significant moment in all of this was just a few weeks ago when I went to the Burlington City Council meeting, as I do, to make noise, and 2 of her students came with me and spoke. I can't even put into words how amazing that was, to have those students understand that all it takes is a person to stand up and say the right thing. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to understand it all. You just have to stand. And so I appreciate this award, and I'm so grateful for all of it. Thank you so much.
The Elon faculty embrace the idea that scholarship and teaching are inseparable because scholarship is the foundation of teaching. These words from the Elon Teacher-Scholar Statement emphasize the centrality of creative activity and scholarship to our work as educators. The Teacher-Scholar Statement further defines scholarship as the creative process that adds to the knowledge of interdisciplinary understanding. Thus, within Elon's teacher-scholar mentor model, we uphold faculty members' pursuit of intellectual discovery and affirm our commitment to nurturing their scholarly accomplishment. It is in this spirit that we recognize each spring a member of the teaching faculty who represents the ideals of scholarly engagement central to our mission and values. In the spring of 2000, Elon selected its first distinguished scholar. Would past award winners please stand to be recognized? It is my pleasure today to recognize the 24th recipient of this award for scholarly distinction. Like previous Distinguished Scholarship Award winners, This year's awardee is noted for exceptionally high productivity with over 65 peer-reviewed publications and over 100 scholarly presentations across a 25-year career, and a highly collaborative research program that has attracted more than $110,000 in external grant funding to Elon. A colleague at UNC Chapel Hill describes this professor as one of the most impactful scholars in our field. In addition to prolific output, the awardee exemplifies the notion of scholarship as a creative process of inquiry and exploration through continual expansion into new research areas with scholarly contributions branching out from core disciplinary areas to medical and educational applications, scholarship of teaching and learning, and inclusive practices. With each new line of inquiry, this faculty member takes on a leadership role in establishing that scholarship area on campus. For example, by co-founding and co-leading a research institute and by serving as a Cell Scholar. This year's awardee has a passion for scholarship that inspires the scholarly work of others and has had a deep influence on both colleagues and students at Elon. One local colleague notes, personally, in my time at Elon, no one has provided more guidance to me in my research than this faculty member. Another states that the awardee is a scholar who seeks to find opportunities to uplift and serve their colleagues and is a catalyst of success for many of their colleagues. Their example has really stretched me in a positive manner to find my rhythm and pace as a teacher, mentor, and scholar. This professor mentored or co-mentored more than 100 undergraduate students in research, helping to spark the scholarly careers of mentees, such as a 2016 alumna whose research was recently featured in Forbes magazine. A further recognition of this faculty member's achievements in mentoring was as a recipient of the Ward Family Excellence in Mentoring Award. A champion for equity and inclusion in all facets of higher education, this professor states, "As I have evolved as a researcher, person, and professional, I am less and less interested in using patient populations to understand the brain or identity populations to enhance the student experience in higher education, and rather am interested in partnering with as an integral component of research we do. This partner model flattens power structures and centers reciprocity in the process." Please partner with me in congratulating Elon's 2023 Distinguished Scholar, Professor of Exercise Science, Dr. Caroline Ketchum.
Wow, thank you. This award means a lot to me. I came to Elon 16 years ago, and I came from an R1. And I came here because I believe in the power of the research process to help our undergraduate students see their potential in a very different way than often in the classroom. And this work is not done alone. I have obviously mentored many students who are part of my productivity. And many colleagues and partners across campus. I was trying to think of all my partners as Rebecca was talking, and I have to thank athletics, I have to thank Rec and Wellness that partner with us to do concussion research, the dance program. I have colleagues all across campus. I have centers that support my work, so the Center of Engaged Learning and the Center for Research of Global Engagement, Cattle, lots of people. So I thank everybody, colleagues across campus. And I joke, but it is true. I see lots of people at Oak House who think it's my second office. But Oak House, it is. I do a lot of writing with friends in those spaces. And so I thank our campus for those types of opportunities. So thank you.
The Daniels-Danieley Award for Excellence in Teaching, established by President Emeritus Earl Danieley and his wife Verona, in honor of their parents, has been given annually since 1973 to a faculty member recognized as one of Elon's master teachers. Previous recipients of the Daniels-Danieley Award are listed in your program, and many of these outstanding faculty members are here today. I invite them to stand and be recognized. It is now my pleasure to introduce this year's recipient of the Daniels-Danieley Award. Colleagues highlight the excellence of this faculty member brings to teaching both in and out of the classroom, as well as their attention to the whole student and inclusivity. Colleagues say that watching this year's honoree teach within the classroom is an experience that all who love education and inquiry should experience. They describe their classroom as a tour de force. On any given day, they report, you will see them adeptly moving from hard copies of text to the computer terminal where they toggle between images and screen, and then to the walls which double as whiteboards without missing a beat. Any student who has had this year's honoree as a professor is the luckiest, one student writes, because they get to learn from a professor who is passionate about what they teach, passionate about teaching it, and passionate about helping their students become the happiest, healthiest, and best versions of themselves. Colleagues highlight this year's honoree engaging and always evolving pedagogical style, one driven by a professor who's restless for better. As a result, students report that they are constantly stretched intellectually and encouraged to do more in a classroom environment that is a perfect balance of friendly and comforting while also being challenging and intellectual. Their exceptional teaching is not limited to the classroom. This faculty member is noted for supporting students with time and effort out of the classroom, especially students who may be struggling or new to the expectations of academia. This time and effort is often observed in hours of student conferences that are so well known that colleagues know not to plan to meet this professor immediately after class, since they regularly spend 20 to 30 minutes wrapping up with students. One alum who walked into this professor's office intent on dropping the course recounts how they sat me down and told me to walk them through how I was reading. And for the next hour, they taught me the difference between taking mindless notes and critically reading. That one potential course dropout became a major, has now gone on to successful postgraduate work in the field, and refers to that class as the place where she really learned to read. Another student who never even took a course with this professor but considers them a lifelong mentor recalls them as readily available to students outside the normal office hours, including attending events on evenings and weekends and responding to late-night emails and texts. This year's recipient has mentored more than 30 different students in high-quality and original research projects, numerous teaching and learning assistants, and more than a dozen discipline-specific and high-impact internships. Mentored students have gone on to graduate study at top universities such as UCLA, Oxford, Duke, St. Andrews, Northwestern, and Emory. This professor's teaching is also characterized as being deeply committed to well-being, inclusivity, and the wholeness of every student. One student writes, they create safe spaces for their students to be exactly who they are, to grow and succeed as people, not just students. That they have an incredible talent as a professor to meet you where you are, provide support in ways you may not even think you needed. One student writes, I was concerned during the pandemic about my mental health and connections I would miss by not being in person. However, I quickly learned that this year's honoree maintained the same level of community and collaboration on Zoom. colleagues lift up this year's honoree as someone who intentionally works to support students, especially BIPOC, first generation, and LGBTQ+ students, in and outside of the classroom, and someone who has not only taught numerous students about the importance of fighting for equity and respecting themselves, but has been on the forefront of making Elon's campus more inclusive. Reflective of our shared institutional mission, one student summarizes their experience with our honoree this way: "They have taught me so much about not only my discipline, but how to navigate the world as a person who is compassionate, engaged, and eager to make change." A tireless educator for not only our students, but for us all, a model of teaching, excellence, and inclusivity, a teacher within and beyond the walls of the classroom, and a tour de force themselves. This year's recipient of the 2022-2023 Daniels-Danieley Award for Excellence in Teaching is Professor of Art History, Kirsten Ringelberg.
I started crying 5 minutes ago, so I'm probably just going to keep crying. But tireless, I'm exhausted. And I probably need better boundaries. Listening to that, it sounds like I have a problem. But if I were to list the names of every person, not just in this room, but campus-wide, who challenges me to be a better teacher every day, we wouldn't have time to do anything else for the week. And it's National Teacher Week. And so instead, what I'd like to do is thank all of you for challenging me to be a better teacher. I'm still learning. I'm still working on it. I think about it, obviously, too much. And but I hope that some of the enthusiasm we have for teaching here in this room and across this campus can better parlay into enthusiasm both in our communities locally and nationwide. I feel like libraries, librarians, archivists, and teachers are under attack and being challenged. History and cultural history are under attack. Those are my disciplines and my love, my passion. And we need to defend them, and we need to defend them with not just words. So I hope that I can get all of you to join me in that commitment to saving our libraries and saving our public schools and helping our pre-K through grad school teachers get better valuation, compensation, support from all of us. So thank you.
I get a bag too, so happy for you. Well deserved. It really is great to hear so much in the remarks today about the why. I'm especially grateful for all of our retirees who remind us why we are doing this and the importance of the vocation of education and teaching. It really is a wonderful way to close out the year and to celebrate all of the outstanding work across this community. And Elon and our students benefit so much from all of you. So thank you, and please do have a restful, and Kirsten, especially to you, take a break this summer. It is good, summer's good. So, and we'll all be happy in August to welcome the next class of 2027. But first and foremost, take a break this summer and enjoy some time with the students away. Thank you for a great year.